This is Luis Monda at Johnny Tuco's Boxing Gym with How to Ball a Fist. Now, in theory, this should be the first thing we learn in combat sports, specifically boxing, MMA. But it's surprising how many people we come across who have never been taught. They've just been put on gloves and basically ball the hands, hit the target. But what ends up happening 9 times out of 10 is people end up what I call square-fisted or block-fisted. It's just almost square. When they punch at the target, they dissipate all their force over the whole course of the fist. That's not really optimal. Plus, I've seen people keep their thumbs up or tuck their thumbs on the side of the fist, which if you miss by even an inch, you're going to clip that thumb. There's a more efficient way to do it for both purposes of aligning the bones correctly and to hurt the other guy more, because obviously that's the object. So the way we teach how to ball a fist is you begin with the pinky finger knuckle squeezing into the palm, and each finger falls in succession, but they don't go the same distance. In other words, I'm not lining them all up. What I'm doing is one after the other lining them so that there's a protrusion of the middle finger and forefinger knuckles. Thumb, in modern boxing gloves, have no thumbs. They force you into this position, but optimally for bare knuckle fighting or for MMA fighters who can move the thumb freely, I like to put the thumb across those two knuckles. So that's the basic fist formation with the protrusion you can see here, but it equates, if I show you the back side of my fist, it equates to the same thing here. There's a protrusion of those two knuckles. They come out further than the other knuckles. Now, the last part of it is a slight arc in the wrist, this way. And the reason for that is to align everything. If I just punch straight at you with the square fist, you see behind the two forefinger knuckles, forefinger and middle finger knuckles, there's empty space. That may cause me to roll my fist that way. Plus, if there's no arc of the wrist at all, if I punch, I might be subject to rolling my wrist downward. Because there's no real alignment. There's nothing to hold it there in place. You rely on either your hand wraps or the hand wraps that your coach does. Whereas, if I align everything by creating a little arc so that the forefinger knuckle lines up better, then what you get is, now with my pointer finger knuckle aimed right at you, you see down the forearm, everything is lined up a lot better. That's going to make the punch almost like a ramrod. Everything's pointed straight at the opposition. There's less chance of rolling the wrist because everything is held more solidly with that little arc. Now, there's different impact points. Like I said initially, if you see square fist, I'll hit you with all of that and dissipate my force over that much space. But with the proper fist, if I throw my left hand at you, you see those two knuckles coming at you primarily, and everything's lined up behind it. So on straight punches, like the jab and the cross, what you end up with are those two knuckles going straight at the target. But there's different points of impact for, say, a hook or an uppercut. On the horizontal fisted hook, the impact point is right there. And people have heard me say before, it's like if somebody's swinging a hammer. If I stand here and I hook the bag, boom, it's back. And that's how it impacts, right on that knuckle. Vertical fisted hooks, or if any of you like to throw what I call rising hook, which it comes upward a little bit, it's not this part of the fist or that part of the fist. Anything with that is, in boxing, what we call slapping. You're just slapping the other guy. You're not hitting, and you're subject to breaking fingers easier because most people don't clench when they do that for fear of breaking the fingers, but there's no solidity, no pressure. It's actually the back side of the knuckle. You know, people have heard me say back side of the knuckle, ask me what I mean by that. This would be the front side of the knuckle. This would be the back side of the knuckle. So for a rising hook, the impact point is the back side of the knuckle. So that I'm driving that middle finger knuckle into the target as very hard, and it feels like getting shanked. Now, uppercuts is a little bit different. I have the arc. If I want to throw an uppercut and I just turn this upside down, you see the formation is not very good. If I lower it and just try to throw it, I'm going to end up getting this side of my fingers, and that I don't want because this is relatively soft and it's not going to hurt the other guy as much. It might bother him, but it's not going to hurt him. We don't want to just bother people with our punches. We want to hurt the guy or tentatively knock him out. So for uppercuts, in order to get that same back side of the knuckle, there has to be a slight turn upward. So that if I uppercut the bag, I'm turning upward just a little bit so that I'm driving this knuckle into the bag. And everything's lined up so it doesn't hurt my wrists or my knuckles no matter how much I do it. With this alignment, you can hit almost anything or anyone bare-fisted. It's not going to hurt. If I throw a hard cross on the bag or a hard jab, because I'm digging into the bag, I get less resistance. And because everything is lined up properly, I get less rolling and folding with my fists. So again, pinky finger, and that's what you squeeze with when you clench the fist. It's the pinky finger. So pinky finger comes in first, then ring, middle, forefinger. There's a protrusion. When you extend the punch, what you should see when you actually get to the bag, so your target is, the backside knuckles never even touch. Because of that protrusion, when I turn the punch over, those knuckles come out first. So these knuckles are never in danger of being broken because they never touch the target in the first place. Same thing on that side. And that's how it looks. It should kind of look like you're pointing at the guy. Like if I just go like that, I'm pointing at you. If I roll that in, now my knuckle's pointing at you. So with that, keeping the fist aligned. In the beginning, of course, it's going to feel weird, and these knuckles need to be conditioned. Like if you see mine, these two are huge, and those two, they don't look like they take any impact at all. Same thing here, but now it's to the point where skin doesn't even tear anymore. If I hit soft bags, I can hit soft bags all day, bare-fisted. It doesn't hurt, doesn't injure me. I don't roll my wrists. When I first started boxing using more block fist or square fist, I would constantly roll my wrists inward because I didn't know how to align everything properly. And that's what it's about. It's about alignment of the bones, proper impact points, and you won't get any hand injuries. Placement of the thumb, again, inside the glove. It's probably going to be right about inside that point of the forefinger, so that when you turn it over, you're getting the same effect. Now, of course, we don't like this thumb being here like that, but that modern boxing gloves force us to do it that way. In the old days, the gloves had thumbs, so you could actually use an opposing grip. Nowadays, you can't do that. But as long as you turn the punch over correctly, though, even with the thumb in that position, you're not going to catch it, or at least not as much. So those things rarely happen nowadays. Try it out, see how you like it. I know some people like to impact with the back 3 knuckles. That's another old school principle. I don't entirely disagree with it, but in my opinion, the 2 forefinger knuckles are superior to that, only because you have less risk of losing your alignment when punching. So that's how we ball fist.